On September 10th, conservative commentator and Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk was assassinated while addressing students at Utah Valley University. What began as a tragic act of violence has now escalated into one of the most closely watched investigations in recent memory. And tonight, shocking new evidence revealed by FBI Director Kash Patel has turned this case into a flashpoint, not only about one suspect and one crime, but about trust in law enforcement, political polarization, and the safety of public life in America. Charlie Kirk was known across the country for his outspoken views, his fiery defense of conservative values, and his ability to draw both passionate support and fierce opposition. On that day in Utah, hundreds of students and community members gathered for what was supposed to be a lively discussion. Instead, tragedy struck. From a rooftop overlooking the campus, a sniper's bullet ended Kirk's life. Panic spread across the audience. Law enforcement swarmed the scene. And within hours, the FBI and local police launched a manhunt that would dominate headlines. Soon after, investigators released surveillance images of a young man seen near the scene. That man was later identified as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. He was not captured in a dramatic raid or violent standoff. Instead, it was his own father who recognized him in the images circulating online and urged him to surrender. Robinson turned himself into authorities, a moment that initially seemed to bring relief. But as the investigation progressed, that relief quickly gave way to shock and confusion. According to FBI Director Kash Patel, forensic teams discovered a bolt-action rifle, a screwdriver, and a towel on the rooftop where the fatal shot was fired. Each of those items carried DNA that matched Tyler Robinson. Investigators also found a chilling handwritten note at Robinson's residence, in which he allegedly wrote that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and that he intended to do so. The note was reportedly destroyed, raising questions about why such a critical piece of evidence was not preserved intact. Yet forensic specialists say they were able to verify its contents. Beyond the physical evidence, investigators also uncovered digital trails, group chat conversations on platforms like Discord, where Robinson allegedly discussed his hatred for Kirk and his plan to act on that hatred. These revelations paint a picture not of a random act of violence, but of a calculated, premeditated political assassination. But even as the evidence against Robinson mounted, controversy swirled around the FBI itself. Just days after the assassination, Patel announced publicly that the shooter was already in custody. That statement turned out to be false. The premature declaration drew criticism from across the political spectrum and raised serious concerns about transparency and credibility at the very top of the nation's premier law enforcement agency. Critics now ask, did Patel rush to reassure the public before the facts were verified? Did he compromise the integrity of the investigation? And what does this mean for the future of his leadership at the FBI? Patel has since admitted the mistake, but lawmakers in Congress are preparing to grill him in hearings, demanding answers about how such an error could occur during a case of this magnitude. Beyond Patel's misstep, there are deeper questions about the evidence itself. Why was the note destroyed, and who allowed that to happen? How will prosecutors present digital conversations as proof of intent? And will those messages hold up under the scrutiny of defense attorneys who may claim they were taken out of context? What role, if any, did others play? Were there accomplices who helped Robinson plan or encourage him to act? Or was he truly a lone wolf, radicalized in the shadows of the internet? These are not just minor details. They are the questions that could determine the outcome of the trial and the public's confidence in justice being served. This case also reaches far beyond one investigation. It forces Americans to confront the growing reality of political violence. In recent years, threats against public figures have surged. Online platforms, once designed for casual communication and gaming, have become breeding grounds for extremism. Law enforcement now faces the monumental challenge of distinguishing between heated rhetoric and genuine threats of violence. In Robinson's case, the line appears to have been crossed decisively, but many wonder how many others are out there, radicalized, waiting for their moment. The assassination of Charlie Kirk has also reignited debates about security at public events. Kirk, like many political commentators, thrived on direct interaction with students, audiences, and communities. Yet that accessibility may have made him vulnerable. If a prominent figure like Kirk can be struck down in broad daylight at university, what does that mean for the future of free speech on campuses, for political rallies, for town halls? Should every speaker now be shielded by armed guards and metal detectors? Or is there a way to preserve openness without sacrificing safety? Prosecutors are preparing what could be one of the most consequential political trials in recent memory. The charges are expected to include first-degree murder and political assassination, offenses that carry the harshest possible penalties. With DNA evidence, digital communications, and a note of intent, the case against Robinson appears strong. Yet legal experts caution that nothing is certain. The destroyed note could become a point of contention. The defense may argue that digital messages were exaggerated or misinterpreted. Robinson's refusal to cooperate could complicate the timeline of discovery. And at every step, the FBI's early missteps may be used to sow doubt in the jury's mind. Meanwhile, the political fallout is already underway. Conservatives point to the assassination as proof of rising hostility toward their movement. Liberals warn against politicizing a tragedy. And in Washington, the FBI is once again caught in the crossfire, accused of mishandling evidence, rushing announcements, and failing to command trust at a time when trust is desperately needed. For Kash Patel, the pressure is immense. His promise of transparency is colliding with the realities of a complex and messy investigation. And with Congress preparing to put him under oath, his future as FBI director may be on the line. So where does this case stand today? We have a suspect in custody, evidence that points to his direct involvement, and a grieving nation searching for answers. But we also have controversy, unanswered questions, and a trial that could stretch on for months. At its core, this case is about more than one assassination. It is about the state of American democracy, the safety of public figures, the responsibility of institutions, and the line between online radicalization and real-world violence. Charlie Kirk's death is a tragedy, but the way this investigation unfolds may shape how America handles political violence for years to come. As new evidence comes to light and the trial approaches, the nation will be watching not only for justice in the death of Charlie Kirk, but for clarity about whether institutions can be trusted, whether leaders can be accountable, and whether America can protect its public voices in an era of growing division. For now, one thing is certain: this story is far from over.